some kind of documentation.
So
Something from,
like, what would you do? Like, because
Jim.
we do this at the organizational meeting, we approve their rate of pay.
Okay. Okay, it's 7 o'clock. We'll call this meeting to order. We'll stand for the pledge, please. Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, to the republic which stands one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Okay, sound system is working and the recording is up and going. So we'll move on to approve the agenda for tonight. I'll make a motion to adopt the agenda as presented with the is presented. Second,
Second,
all in favor?
all right,
Any opposed? So moved. Public comments. Gary?
Questioning video conferencing tonight. Tonight's participation of the board utilizing teleconferencing, you said it was going to be a test, but now it's a meeting. In your minutes last time. And I'm wondering if it is a test, which is great, because now you decide how you're going to run it, what kind of rules you're going to make, and all the different things. But I don't believe, and I believe she can participate in the meeting, even as a citizen. She could participate. The said you agreed to test set 12 minutes, and further indicated no vote was taken. Now, to me, that's kind of opposite terms. When you say they agreed, but no vote was taken. You know, I wasn't here to see it visible. Supervisor advised both verbal and written confirmation from the Committee on Open Government that Public Law 104 permitted teleconference. This being distinct from 103A, which do it all. I did a little research, and Chapter 417 of the laws of 2021, and later extended by Chapter 56 of the laws of 2022, allows public bodies to meet remotely. Okay. But key requirements for towns. The town must adopt a local law or resolution authorizing video conferencing for itself, and it goes on to talk about committees. I don't believe you passed any ordinance or law permitting it tonight. The town must have and post written rules for members and public attendance. So in that case, I don't believe those that's been done to meet the requirements. So I would question. I don't question board members' participation, but I do question whether it can be an official vote, since it's not approved or whatever through your own rules. If it's a test, that's fine, and that's great, because now you're going to learn about what works with it. I don't know why you couldn't video it up on remotely video it on the screen if you had projecting, which I think counts up. That's just my comment about this. And then a second thing about the pending changes, insurance changes. I'm wondering when retirees are going to be informed or talked to or like this. I mean, the town's had 2 months in order to do it since you had your special meeting. It appears to me that both cases, and even in past things in the past, town board members and like this are trying to hurry through things without thinking about it, and trying to kind of bowl forward ahead without thinking about the ramifications of what you're doing.
Thank you.
Any other public comment? Okay. We'll move on to communications, town clerk.
Finished with my tax collection for town and county, submitted my report today for the final to the county, so I'm completely done. We collected just over 97% of the taxes, which is good. It leaves us at about 400,000 that was not collected. And then I submitted for reimbursement for the first 6 months of ARPA for the grant we have for reimbursement, and I was approved on all of it. It was only like 3,200 or something, a little over 3,000, but we received all that back. That's all I have.
Highway superintendent.
Sure. We've been very busy doing a lot of road work and stuff like that, a lot of county work that's been underway. We did some work up on Maplewood Avenue with a catch basin. That'll be resurfaced, stone and oil later this summer. I'm sure everybody knows about Belt Hill Road construction for the last 2 weeks. From the village line out to West Bloomfield Road, we widened it, and then Sioux Falls came in with their train and reclaimed all the material and put it back down. That went very, very well. It was a 2-day project for that part of it. As part of the county work, we've been doing some work in Pittsburgh, Willard Road, Railroad Mills Road, Park Road. That being said, we're also job sharing and stuff like that with our equipment going to Rush and Pittsburgh and stuff like that. So sometimes our trucks will be seen outside of the town of Mendon, but by that token, so far, as of last Friday afternoon, we billed out $137,000 in county work. So it's, to me, I think that's pretty good. We're ahead of the curve there. There still is a fair amount of county work left to do. We're gonna start working at some retention ponds and assessing those. That's been a concern, especially with the wet spring. The Keeler construction is on schedule as far as a culvert replacement on Belt Hill Road. Belt Hill is gonna close next Monday. And then the Taylor Road Bridge replacement, they've already started work as far as utility relocation there. But then that road will close the end of July. All the millings material that came off of Belt Hill Road, 95% of it all went to the baseball field parking lot and the soccer field expansion at Summer Road. So it all stayed very close to that. So a couple of farmers got maybe half a dozen loads, and that was about it. We're gonna start some town work the next couple of months, doing some subdivisions, oiling and stoning, doing some catch basin work, doing some trim and leveling work is coming up. Started roadside mowing, so that part is all part of the county projects. Part of the Mars program, so we'll get reimbursed for some of that. Last week I spent 3 days down in Ithaca at the Cornell Highway School, a very informative school, and I enjoyed it very much. It was a lot to be learned on. So a lot of good resources, a lot of good information. That's what I got. Thank you.
Thank you. Town engineer.
Good evening, Supervisor and Town Board. As an update, we have had a bunch of discussions in regard to grant applications, looking for additional funds. Some of those funding sources have made themselves available. Different application due dates in July, August, and then in the fall. We also had a meeting at 13 at Victor Mendon Road with some contractors in regard to the chain wallets in the state's right away. We had some discussions in regard to Miles Square Road sidewalks. I issued a letter to the town in regard to pricing, and leave it further on the agenda, which we talked about that as well. in regard to other town items, we did review the proposed urgent care in the village, and we issued a letter regarding some of our initial use of that.
All set. Thank you very much. Town attorney?
Thank you, Mr. Supervisor. It's been a busy couple months. I think probably, I reported last month on the settlement in the Southco matter for the tax cert. That has now been finalized. So it is completely off the books as far as the litigation is concerned. And with, minimal tax reductions going forward. There are a couple code matters that I've been working closely with Corey on. Those actually are going to court. The first court date will be this Thursday. And then lots of policy type questions, staffing type questions, personnel stuff. Very busy.
Yep. Okay, thank you.
You're welcome.
Town board, Rebecca, would you like to go first?
Sure. How's the sound? Is it okay? Too much? Too little? You may speak up.
Just perfect.
Perfect. Okay. So this month I attended the library as the library liaison monthly meeting. They're very focused right now on the urgent care facility, which has pretty direct impacts to them for obvious reasons. So worked with them, listened to the conversations at the board meeting, and also participated in some dialogue with the library director, Lila Grills, and the board's vice president, Tom Dooley, and Joe on going through what their concerns were with the urgent care facility. So they're continuing to coordinate. Of course, the hearing on that facility was overcrowded, so it's been postponed, but they have some statements prepared that they're planning to share at the new date, which I think is the 22nd of this month. I attended the two Climate Smart Community Task Force meetings this month, and Kim will have more to share on this too, but we really focused over this month on understanding what other towns in our vicinity in Monroe County and a couple other towns and surrounding counties have done, so that we can learn from them, not try to reinvent the wheel. So we have a couple of our task force, our new members that have been really, really committed to moving us along. I just want to give a shout out to Dave McInnes and to Steve Barber, and of course Peter Carosa for all the work that they've done to understand, using AI tools to really understand what we can and not reinvent the wheel. So really fantastic work and commitment that I'm seeing out of the crew. So going forward, I'll be working with Corey to answer a few questions that we've really identified, kind of keyed in on a few key issues that we think we can get some documentation for pretty easily. And we're probably sitting at close to 80 points at this point, and we need 120 to get that bronze certification. And then lastly, I participated in the two parades over the last month, the Memorial Day Parade and the Fireman's Parade. So that was a really nice opportunity to represent the town and give some candy to kids. So,
Okay, wonderful. Thank you. It's almost as if you were here.
yeah, almost.
Kim, would you like to go?
Sure. May 13th, I attended the HPC meeting, discussed the ongoing concerns with the EPOD 5 map. Questions continue concerning the Mendon Ponds Park. A member of the HPC discussed what Webster Village is doing with QR code project to learn about historical culture in Webster. They reviewed an application for 3842 Clover Street for demolishing a barn on the property. It was presented to HPC for approval prior to going to the ZBA because of the area variance with the 500-foot buffer, which is in question right now. And then the town historian continues to be busy, receives approximately 2 requests a day for information. And she has an intern from SUNY Geneseo working with her this summer to assist with a book on the Revolutionary War members invented. I attended a Climate Smart Task Force on May 19th. As Rebecca said, we've been trying to streamline how we can accomplish getting to our bronze level. May 20th, I attended a meeting along with other town employees and the finance director to discuss reserve funds and budgeting. May 21st, I met with the town supervisor. We all received an email from a resident on Rush Menden Road, and she had concerns about the traffic on that area near the Lehigh Valley Trail, and has requests for a formal traffic study, speed study, and speed reduction measures near that area. So I'm just inquiring if there's an update on how the town plans to proceed with her requests. I'm wondering if there's any updates on recent or upcoming Menden Business Association meetings, because we haven't had any updates from that. And where do we stand on a human resource person for employees to contact if there's any concerns? And the last thing is, I have concerns about allowing a board member to vote via video conference tonight. Public Officers Law 104 governs public notice only. It does not authorize remote participation or voting. To legally allow voting via video conference, the town must have adopted and be operating under Public Officers Law 103-A. The Association of Town Attorneys, Sarah Brancatella, emphasized in their open meeting law training that municipalities should follow the letter of the law to avoid the risk of anyone invalidating our votes. So I recommend that the town confirm compliance before we permit voting remotely.
Okay, thank you. Tom?
I attended the ZBA meeting on May 14th. There was one application for an area variance to install ground mounted solar panels in front of the primary residence. The variance was approved with the condition that the code enforcement officer be notified prior to construction to verify the location of the array. Make sure it's outside EPOD buffer zones. There's a lot of EPODs on this property. And they want to just confirm that the ground mounted solar panels are outside the EPODs. I've had numerous discussions with the code enforcement officer in regards to 3808 Rush Menden Road violations. This resulted in the CO issuing an appearance ticket. I've been working with the town engineer in regards to the proposed urgent care facility, 20 North Main Street in the village. Myself, the town engineer, and the supervisor been on site on Monday, June 1st to review the proposed site plan for the urgent care. The town's involved with this project due to the fact that they're proposing all access to the site through the town-owned library driveway. They're proposing widening the driveway for the increased traffic volume. We discussed access and maintenance agreements, urgent vehicle access, changing light poles and fixtures, possibility of decreasing the size of the parking lot to leave a larger green space in front of the library. And the dumpster location, which they've got shown now, is right in front of the library. And I attended the public hearing. Rebecca was there. At the ambulance building, due to overcrowding, has been moved to the high school auditorium on June 22nd at 7 o'clock. And I attended the Menden Carnival, which I feel was a great success. They had 3 days of good weather, and there was a lot of people there.
Fantastic. Okay, Tanner.
All right, good afternoon. So first want to cover the planning board. In case you are not aware, our vice chair, Earl DeRue, is recovering from a procedure. So first want to wish him well and wish him a speedy recovery. Couple changes or a couple recommendations that the planning board put forth in their most recent meeting. I believe they were working with you around a draft set of rules of procedure to make sure that we're fully compliant with section 260-96 subsection B.
I have not received a reach out from
Oh, okay.
anyone on the planning board, but I anticipate it probably should be coming.
Yeah, but if
Okay.
not, I'll follow back up with them and make sure that you get a copy of the draft.
Thank you.
Our as you know, our town code requires that we have a draft rules of procedure. Just want to make sure that we're fully compliant and operating.
I'd be happy to review.
Thank you. One of the other changes that they put forth is a standing chairs report. So right after the minute, the chair will now put on record any administrative action taking place between meetings. So in case a waiver or a signature on a map or a plot takes place between meetings, the chair will formally report that out to make sure that it is covered in a public meeting, makes it into the meeting minutes and available for the public to review and comment on. And finally, they formally added a permanent public comment item to the planning board agenda. So much like the town board meetings, before and after each meeting, there will be a public comment period where residents can come up, express their views to the board for up to 3 minutes. Next up is I attended all 4 Memorial Day ceremonies in West Bloomfield, Honey Falls, and in Minden, and want to extend a thank you to the American Legion and the towns for inviting me to speak to the Honey Falls and the Minden events. I think that it went very well. We had really good weather and incredible turnout for this year. So wanted to say thank you for the board and thank you for the community for continuing to support Memorial Day activities and ceremonies. And then finally, for the American Legion, there was a vote for new officers last month. So those new officers will be sworn in the June ceremony, and off to a new year for the American Legion. I do have 2 other events on the agenda tonight around the procurement policy that we discussed last month. So we can put that forward to vote, as well as a general update and on-voting discussion for the progress of EMS contract with the Honey Falls.
Okay,
Thank you.
Thank you very much. Awesome. Good reports. A lot of what you've heard are things I've been involved in and doing too, so I'm not going to repeat all that. But as far as the Memorial Day, it was amazing. I marched in the parade and both parades, and it's never really, Memorial Day has never meant as much as it did that day to me. There's something about being directly involved. Hearing your speech,
Thank you.
was awesome.
Thank you.
Heartfelt, and it really talked about how it affects the families, and that was really meaningful to the people there, I'm sure.
Thank you very much for the opportunity.
Minden Business Association, you mentioned. I've been in touch with them frequently, but I just don't hear back. It's like they're not meeting or doing much. There was one meeting I just couldn't go to. I only had 2 days notice. So, but other than that, there just doesn't seem like, I keep having dialogue with people, different Minden businesses, and then I just don't hear anything about a meeting. So I don't know.
I don't know the leadership there, so.
Yeah. Anyway, I'd love to attend that and offer them the help and the town's input as much as possible. You all have heard probably lots and lots about urgent care. I want to assure you, and I want to thank the 2 Toms for their participation and their feedback and their concern for our town. And we all know urgent care is a wonderful thing. We'd love to have it here. It's our job to make sure that the town's interests are met too. And you heard about what a lot of those interests are. And we will be on top of that. And we will be attending the meeting or hearing Monday night, the 22nd. Let's see here. I attended the reserve funds with our accountant. That was very informative. I really think everyone got a lot out of that. The seniors exercise class, that's a real bonus right now. I attended one of them. I actually did some exercises and it was good. It felt good. Actually, it wasn't even as subtle as it was. I was a little sore the next day. So that says a lot about me, I guess, but I kind of need those exercises. I don't know if they'll let me out to continue attending them, but it's great. And I want to thank Michelle too, because she's always an advocate for the seniors. And so we appreciate that, Michelle. We all, the carnival was fantastic. Another parade, and it was great. I got to cook at Shipe's sandwich shop, but not cook, but John does all the cooking. But I got to serve and it was great. It was a lot of fun, great group. The thing that sticks with me about the carnival is how dedicated all the people are. From the firemen that work their tails off nonstop for at least a week, if not longer. And plus all the people that go and support it and just have a lot of fun. And it's really a great, great thing that the firehouse does. So that was wonderful to be part of. And let's see. I mentioned that. Urgent care, Climate Smart, kudos to Climate Smart. They're just on top of it and really moving along. I'm hoping I can keep up with them. And the last thing I guess I'll comment on is, as far as our open meeting, I had several conversations with an attorney from the Committee of Open Government, so direct representation. Everything we're doing here is according to what he told us and what he advised. And there's not really much else to say. I'm not sure where your information came from or who it was. I didn't quite catch that part. And I'd be happy, I didn't see that video. Be happy to go watch it and compare notes. And I don't even mind calling up the same attorney I spoke with and running some of those things by him. But things that were brought up tonight, as well as what you brought up, and Rebecca has emailed and called the same office and consulted with Megan. We both did. We really spent a lot of time and a lot of work to make sure we are operating within the law. And we are, as far as I know, or we wouldn't be doing this. So
if I could add to that briefly, I did watch the video that Kim shared, and I reached out to the New York Department of State Committee on Open Government, the same one that we had been speaking with. Spoke with the acting executive director of the committee, and she confirmed that 103 A and B apply only when we're trying to teleconference under extraordinary circumstances, and that if we want to connect board members multiple locations through video conferencing, and it's been properly noticed through the correct channels, 103 A or B do not apply. We don't have to have a policy. We don't have to pass a local law. We just have to notice it properly. So maybe Megan, you can weigh in on that based on what you understood from those emails.
I'd be happy to if I may, Mr.
You may.
Supervisor. Okay. There is a lot of confusion around this, in part because the law itself is not well written. 103 A and B were the product of COVID and the emergency measures that needed to be put in place to allow open meetings to occur during that kind of time where we couldn't be together. 104, however, is the one that applies here. And there is no need for a local law or a resolution or a policy even. As long as it's properly noticed, we can have members participate via video conference. That being said, if the board wanted to consider a policy and pass that policy by a resolution, then we can post that on the website and do those sorts of things so that everyone's operating with the same expectations. That's something that I could support. So,
and participate isn't just participate, it's also the full body. There is a difference. Is that right? Is that correct, Megan?
I'm sorry, Rebecca, you're cutting out a little bit.
Oh, shoot. Participation. Oh, that's because I forgot my phone is. Participation with voting rights is.
Yeah. By participate, I mean with voting rights. That's exactly right.
I'll add that we have as a discussion point on the agenda to talk about creating a policy for this, for teleconferencing. And I guess that's it, really. I just wanted to make sure everybody was up to speed on that, and we'll continue to look at it. Okay, Town Supervisor's Monthly Financial Report, April.
I'll make a motion to acknowledge receipt of the Town Supervisor's Monthly Report for April 2026.
Second?
I'll second.
Okay, any discussion?
Yeah.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? So moved. Town Clerk's Monthly Report. I'll make a motion to acknowledge the receipt of the Town Clerk's Monthly Report for May of 2026, showing receipts and disbursements in the amount of $9,632.91. Second,
I'll second.
any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? So moved.
Becca needs to vote out loud if she's gonna be considered voting. member.
Yeah, I think she was,
Okay.
but yeah, just maybe be a little louder when you aye.
Perhaps louder.
Thank you. Thanks, Michelle. Approval of minutes. I'll make a motion to approve the minutes of the regular meeting held on May 11th, 2026 as presented, amended, not amended, but presented.
I'll second.
Okay, any discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Rebecca?
Said it. Michelle, did you hear me better?
I don't, I think it's because
You-
everybody's talking at once, so it doesn't pick up your mic.
Right, why don't you respond after we do?
Okay, I'll do a secondary vote.
Sure.
Aye.
Okay, so moved, thank you. Budget adjustments and transfers. Someone want to go?
I'll make a motion to approve a budget amendment for the New York State LGRMIF grant awarded to the town of Mendon by increasing estimated revenues in account A3040, the state aid records management, by $74,979 and increasing appropriations in accounts A1460.2 by $12,014 and A1460.4 by $62,965.
Okay. All in favor? Oh, I'm sorry. Okay,
Second.
second. Any discussion?
Yeah, just a quick question. This is all grant money
Yes,
that's being deposited. Okay, just wanted to clarify.
okay. All in favor?
Aye.
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 Any opposed? So moved.
I will move to approve the following budget adjustment to ensure sufficient funds remain for fuel and other dog control expenses through the end of the year. To transfer $2,000 from A1620.4 to A3510.4.
Okay.
A
Second,
second.
great. All in favor?
Aye.
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 I didn't ask for discussion. I'm sorry. Is there any discussion on that point? Okay. All in favor, say aye.
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 Any opposed?
Aye.
So moved. Abstracts?
All right, I will move to approve all claims on vouchers numbered 26-275 to 26-289 on general abstract 26-6A in the amount of $32,976.18.
Second.
Okay. Any discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Oh. Opposed? So moved.
I move to approve all claims on vouchers numbered 26-290 to 26-330 on general abstract 26-6B in the amount of $40,404.33.
Second.
Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
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 Are all of the vouchers then now signed? and approved?
So there's one voucher to be signed as relates to the grant, and I can sign that either now or directly after the
Either
meeting.
that, or we need to pull that, change the numbers you just approved.
Can you sign
I'll
it?
sign it.
Sign it right now.
It's just-
I didn't
You know
sign,
what I mean?
Yes, you're right.
but I also,
No.
this is for discussion later, but I do want to point out the invoice for the attorney. Last month, we had said that we had approved at our organizational meeting to have a maximum of $4,583. And the invoice for the attorney was $10,964. So I know that's for discussion later, which we can get into it, but I have not signed that yet.
So if those two aren't signed, you might want to pull them out of the vouchers
Okay,
and then subtract that amount from the totals and the.
is the grant
You're
one
gonna
is
have to
what
do
you were
some
asking?
separate-
That one?
Or do some sort of a provision. I don't have it, because you're not approving.
We can have that discussion right now.
So Tanner just signed this one,
I was just waiting on the funds to be transferred before
so
signing.
that's all signed.
Okay.
And
Okay,
but
are we
then-
set on
So the
that
funds
one?
were trans.
Oh,
you're
that's
good then?
that's the
Yep.
grant one.
And then the attorney, do we want to? Why don't we table it after the attorney discussion? We'll come back and approve that abstract
So you gotta
for
take that.
the the general
Okay.
abstract A.
Subtract that amount from the amount on here. And then we'll have
Which
to
is why
change the
we,
number.
excuse me, which is why we should have the conversation right now during discussion. So this way we don't have to do the back and forth and change and amend. It'd just be much easier. So let's go move to have the discussion. Do we need an amendment or a amendment to the agenda for that or?
And let's go. All right, so we're discussing the attorney fee.
We are.
I appreciate you taking the time for the spreadsheet and breaking down the percentages of cost. That was very helpful. I do understand that we had a lawsuit that we were dealing with and a couple lawsuits actually, and some of the town business. So that was a good perspective.
And CEO activities that
Right.
are above the norm.
Right. So I appreciate that. I can say, in my experience, we've had a previous firm that didn't invoice us for everything. We could reach out for that allotted monthly fee without being invoiced for each call or email, so. And I understand larger firms have greater overhead, but just want to point that out.
I'll add that, you know, we did look at the previous firm and spoke with them, but you know, it's like 95% of their work was all NYMER work. And the depth of their staff was basically two people. Well, they had more staff, but two attorneys. And it just didn't feel to me, look to me like they were going to be able to accommodate our needs going forward, especially with knowledge of the things coming down the pike that you just mentioned. So, you know, so a decision was made and I just wanted people to know that, that's all. This firm has a lot more depth that I felt like we needed, and we looked at that and we all approved it. We also did approve the cap. So I think we have extenuating circumstances that none of us could help. So I don't know, is it reasonable to ask a law firm to just eat $6,000 or something? I don't know. It's, you know, I'm just saying, getting, you know, putting it up there is food for thought. So,
If I may,
You
Mr.
may.
Supervisor, address the retainer
You may.
question that Councilmember Roberts had put forth. So, you know, we were, when we presented our proposal, willing to explore a retainer. For it to make sense for us, we would need to have a better understanding of the amount of work on a monthly basis so that we could accurately quote that number. Likely it would not be at the $4,000 and change that that the board had approved at the earlier meeting, because that doesn't give us much room really. And my understanding of retainers is that sometimes when you reach a certain limit, then the attorney will say, I can't help you anymore this month. I don't know if that's been your past experience, that you're fortunate in that then. But there, from a business perspective, there is a point where, you know, it doesn't make sense for us to continue to assist if we're not going to get paid. So we would be happy to go back and look at another retainer arrangement, especially now that we've got a couple months underneath our belt. Again, I think probably this is really extraordinary, the circumstances that we're assisting with right now. But I'd be happy to give that a try if that's what the board is interested in seeing.
And one other thing I'll add, and then I'll be quiet, but, you know, having new people on the board, 3 of us are new, obviously. And I've said this before, but at our first meeting, Kim, you asked, you know, would the board, are you representing the whole board or just the supervisor? And she clearly said the whole board, and the whole board has been able to call her pretty much at will. So I would like to explore the option of using NIAT attorneys for whenever it seems feasible to do. They're certainly not going to be able to cover everything. They can't really represent us like an attorney does, but they can give us advice on the code, on many, many things. And I use them all the time, and especially lately when I saw that bill. So.
For general questions, the New York Association is a fantastic resource. You mentioned
Yeah.
Sarah's presentation. So, you know, for a general lay of the land, I would fully endorse using the Association of Towns. If you want to explore something and then just run it by me for a quick check, do you agree with this? I'd be happy to do that too.
Yeah.
If you ever want to double check my work with the Association of Towns, I'm fine with that too. They're good attorneys and they can be a good resource in town as a member, so.
Yeah.
Other measures we're taking, as you know, all of our manuals, half a dozen of them are outdated. All of them. They require work. They're gonna need attorney to review them. So we are, like Tom's working on a sign regulation, sign code, Tom and Corey. You know, they're trying to do as much as they can on that before it goes to her so that she's not creating the whole thing. Doing the same thing, we hired our new payroll company, didn't hire them. Our new payroll company did it for free, produced a employee manual for us. So it's up to us now to review that, which is on the docket for tonight, to review some of it. And it's 99 pages. And you know, that's, again, those are measures we can take to offset the cost of an attorney and try and keep our bill down. And so we're doing everything we can. I just want the public to understand that.
Can I ask a quick question on the spreadsheet? What's the difference between town business committees and town board? Like, can you give examples of those 3 categories?
Yeah, I'd have to see the actual bill, I think, to refer to that. Let me see, town board. Well, town board is town board members directly calling. I'll be honest, off the top of my head, I can't remember what the committee work was that was being done.
Committees are given permission to reach out directly?
Oh, no, they are not.
Okay.
So one of them drafting proposed resolution language for climate smart communities task force and advising on the task force.
Yeah. So that's a brand new committee. They asked for permission.
I actually believe that was a town board resolution.
Oh, sorry.
That's okay.
That's
Related
no,
to the
but
committee though, you're exactly right.
I coded all of them but I don't have my original document. I think
What
I
was the doc? What
I
was
mean, that's a number two on the list.
yeah, it is. I'm sorry, I did. It's the committees. It's number 3, actually. Or no, yeah, number 3. So third highest amount of time. And the 4th highest was the code enforcer, which has an enormous amount of activity in the past month or 2.
Yeah.
I-
What are you guys looking at right
We're
now?
looking
So this
at
is the
bill,
voucher right
the
now.
actual bill and the voucher, yeah. I had coded each item based on this coding system, which included committees, town board, policy, code enforcer, assessor, clerk, and lawsuit. So lawsuit, of course, was the number 1 and the biggest drain on the town in terms of attorney's time. I mean, if you, I mean, I'd be happy to get back to you tomorrow on that. If that can wait.
Oh, yeah, no, yeah, I was just curious.
Because I just would go back to my original, how I coded it. And I just don't have that in front of me. I'm sorry. I should have, but I don't.
The 5.2 hours for committees, that was all climate smart?
I did not code. I didn't create the
Right,
spreadsheet.
right. I
I'd
don't
be
think
happy
it
to
was
take a
all,
quick-
if
I
you let me
don't
look
think
at it.
there was some question about who could be appointed to which committee, whether there was a conflict of someone being appointed to two. And I might be mixing up my months here because I think this was the May bill, which would have been for April time. It's a while ago. So I think it had to do with committee membership and looking at resolutions for the town board around that. I don't think I did any work for the individual committees. No one reached out to me for that. I know that there was some policy review with regard to the facility use policy. There were some,
Easement agreements, that was planning board. There's several.
that's the sidewalk project.
Oh, okay.
That we're putting together easement.
Okay, I
agreements
thought that
with
was
the
planning
town
board.
Engineer.
Yeah, so I assigned that to planning board because I thought it had to do with that.
Gotcha.
That's what it sounded like to me.
So it could be the easements that we're preparing for the sidewalk
Yeah,
project.
that makes sense. So some of that coding could be changed slightly. But, you know, we're doing the sidewalk, well, we have to vote on it, but, you know, it's been in progress for many years.
So do we want to make an amendment to increase, the voucher to pay, we have the money in the account.
Yep.
Increase it by $6,381 to pay the total $10,000 invoice this
I
month.
would second that motion. And of course, it would be just for this month.
Wait, what's the motion?
To increase the cap on the attorney's bill for this month,
So we can pay the invoice.
so we can pay the invoice right now. Approve it right now.
I thought the cap was more of a,
That's what we're saying. We
okay, more
approved
like,
January, the cap of 4,583. I'm suggesting to make a amendment for this month to increase it by 6,381 so we can pay the total $10,000 invoice.
I second that motion. Any further discussion? All in favor, say aye.
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 Any opposed? So moved. Where were we?
Highway.
we're approving the voucher.
Highway
You
abstract.
didn't vote on.
Wait.
Abstract B.
Yeah, let me go
Abstract B.
back and I'll reread abstract B, that
Thank you.
way.
Thank you.
All right, so I move to approve all claims on vouchers numbered 26-290 to 26-330 on general abstract 26-6B and the total amount of $40,404.33.
And I second.
Okay, any discussion?
We're good now because it's the original invoice. We're just,
Okay, so all
everything.
vouchers are
Everything.
signed and covered.
Yes.
Okay, good.
All in favor, say aye.
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 Any opposed? So moved.
All right, I move to approve all claims on vouchers numbered 26-130 to 26-162 on highway abstract 26-6 and the amount of $385,133.31.
Second.
Okay, any discussion? All in favor, say aye.
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 Any opposed? So moved.
I provide notice to the board that Kim Roberts and I witnessed the library vouchers numbered 26-068 to 26-076 on library abstract 26-6A and the total amount of $1,633.61. They were presented to the town board for payment. This is not a voting item. I also provide notice to the board that Kim Roberts and I reviewed library vouchers numbered 26-077 to 26-081 on library abstract 26-6B and the amount of $2,003.96. They were presented to the town board for payment, but this is not a voting item.
Okay, thank you.
Move on. Can I have that back so we can keep it with our vouchers that Bill has?
Oh, yes.
And declaration of scrap.
Thank you.
I'll make a motion, declare 20 obsolete lighting fixtures in the highway department building as surplus property following the replacement with LED units. The highway department is authorized to recycle the bulbs and dispose of the fixtures in the department scrap pile to be disposed of at the scrap yard during the routine annual or semi-annual cleanup.
I will second.
Any discussion? All in favor, say aye.
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 Any opposed? So moved. Buildings and grounds.
I authorize the purchase of a 60-inch zero-turn mower with dump collection system from Saxby Implement. The amount not to exceed $18,427 per quote written on May 18th to be paid from account A1620.200.
Second,
I'll second.
any discussion? All in favor, say aye.
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 Any opposed? So moved. Highway and Buildings and Grounds Department trucks.
I will make a motion to authorize the purchase of two 2026 Chevy Silverados, 3500 HD four-wheel drive trucks from Joe Bastille Chevrolet. One is for the highway department to replace the current truck number 6, and one is for the buildings and grounds department to replace truck number 7, which was sold in auction. The amount not to exceed $131,882, with $65,941 per vehicle per the Erie County bid, to be paid from account DA 5130.2 for the highway and account A1620.200 for B&G.
I will second.
Okay, any discussion? All in
Hey.
favor?
What, I have one thing I'm curious about.
Sure.
Is there like a fleet inventory somewhere that's easily accessible?
That's why we went with Basil Chevrolet, because they do have a higher inventory.
No, I think she has an inventory of all the vehicles we have, the
Oh,
town.
okay.
Yeah, I just like it feels like there's always cars or trucks being bought and sold. I'm just curious.
That's true.
There's an inventory somewhere just so I understand what's going on.
It's all part of our replacement plan, yes. There is an inventory that we do have. I don't have it with me right now. But
Yeah, there's a lot of vehicles in the highway department, sure.
Yeah, it would be helpful as we're voting on these just to have a better sense of
We can
what's
get
coming.
we can get you a list of what the vehicles we have and probably the replacement schedule. Carter has that.
Right.
And we can get that, right?
And that's actually something we might want to do, by the way. That's a climate smart community action item, is doing fleet inventory and then understanding their emissions. So we could probably combine those two things together.
Sounds good.
Okay, that's all.
Okay.
Well, I think we have one and we have a capital improvement. I just don't know if it's been shared with everybody because it should be. I mean,
Yeah.
I've seen it.
Yeah, we have the capital and the capital procurement plan is online. I don't think the department inventories are publicly posted, but I know each department
I think it's been
maintains an inventory.
shared.
Yep.
So, yeah.
Okay. Did we get a second on that?
Yeah.
And,
We were in discussion mode.
Yep. Okay. All in favor, say aye.
All right.
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? So moved. Sidewalk project. I make a motion to authorize the sidewalk project to proceed at an anticipated total construction cost of $270,000, inclusive of sidewalk project to proceed at an anticipated, inclusive of approximately $38,125 from account B8021.4, with the contractor's initial seating cost to be funded via project contingency in order to avoid construction delays into late October or next year.
Second,
Okay, any discussion?
are we, so I know that there's a discussion point later on about the sidewalk. Costs, are you still comfortable with the added? We're okay with that additional, it's a non-issue from your perspective, Joe?
Yes, it's unfortunately unavoidable if we want to do the sidewalk. Megan, you had asked me earlier, I think, about this. I believe we've got a bid from a state authorized, certified, so we don't have to get multiple bids.
The Monroe County
It's the
contract.
Monroe County purchasing procurement, so they go out and they procure multiple contractors to do select items. The concrete was awarded to Campbell. There are 2 other contractors for doing the excavation, utility installation, and stone bedding. One was Villager Construction. We reached out and talked to them. Their schedule was initially open. As of last year, it is not, they aren't available until further into the October, maybe November timeframe. We also reached out to Macedon Excavation, and they indicated that they are available to begin working on the project. So the goal is to not have their schedule, they have availability now, at least definitely with the concrete. If we delay, we're looking at either the potential construction into October, which is not recommended based on the construction season.
And the county reimburses 50% of this project,
County-
except for the excavation.
County reimburses 50% up to 130,000.
Oh, that's what,
So I confirmed that with Henry Herzog, who's the Monroe County representative in this regard. I did ask him that again, which it is spelled out in the IMU, that if we do exceed the overall gross fee of 260,000, what happens? And that would be that those additional costs would be expended by the town, correct? A number of these additional costs have to do with storm piping and making different alignment changes.
yeah, initially, there were easements all approved, and then there was a renege on that, and had to go back to the table and negotiate that and get that squared away, which you did, and so it's done. This is a one leg of many legs of sidewalk that the town has been planning for a long, long time. So all the money has been spent to plan. Let's move forward with it. It's connecting the Lehigh Valley Trail to 251 and then eventually down towards the hamlet. So we're working on it.
And then one other question I had, can you explain the implications of paying the contractor's initial seeding with project contingency?
The reason that we went with that is it should be a very small amount. Like, we still want the contractor to do the seeding, the initial seeding. That way they have the control of it, when the time that they've completed the fine grading out there. If there's additional seeding that needs to come back, it can be, need to be done by the town of Mendon. My reasoning for putting in the contingency items, and there may be other contingency items that pop up, that's the point of the contingency construction budget. And that was set at, I think, $11,600. And that's really meant for unseen issues during construction. And I didn't want to have to update the overall budget that they have provided to date. So again, it's based on hours, materials. What they've provided is a budget, and their goals is to meet that budget. But it's, again, it is a budget, and they feel that they can do that work within those dollars.
And this maintains an $11,600 unidentified contingency fund in case there are minor overruns.
It may come into a, unknown utility or a
Right.
dog wire or something that needs to get changed or swapped out, or maybe what they assume that they could connect into, they can't. So,
Okay.
Okay, thank you, Tom. All in favor, say aye.
We're very excited to see the project start moving forward.
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Say nay. So moved. Health insurance proposal to adopt Brown and Brown as an additional broker. I make a motion to appoint Brown and Brown as the town's health insurance, as one of the town's health insurance brokers effective June 1st, 2026. Current health insurance plans for active employees will remain unaffected for the 26 plan year. Retirees and Medicare eligible participants will have the option to transition to new cost-saving plan offerings provided through Brown and Brown, or elect to remain on the current plans through December 31st, 2026. We have a second.
I'll second.
Any discussion?
Do you want to amend the resolution then to say one of the town's health insurance brokers?
I did.
I heard you say it. I just don't know if we have to, I just wanted to note it for, I guess, Michelle.
Okay. So noted. Okay, she's got it.
Okay.
Okay, any further discussion?
I just wanted a clarifying question or clarification. If this arrangement doesn't work out, can the retirees return to their current insurance plan?
They can choose to switch or remain. If only two remain, then it will stay open. If less than two remain, that in other words, there has to be two staying with the original plan, or they can't continue it. So if two don't stay, then that plan goes away. But our employees will have the opportunity to review both policies and make a decision about what they want to do. I've done a thorough review. I've handed all of you this paper. And it really does a good job, I think, of outlining everything. There's nothing about this plan that the new plan that is, it's cheaper from everything from co-pays all the way to hospitalization across the board. And I can't believe anybody would not take that plan in giving the choice. So, and we're talking about just our 6 to 7 retirees, people that are on Medicare that can take this plan. So that's all we're talking about. Everyone else will remain on the same plan through this year. And of course, come fall, we'll be finding out what the new rates are. And God knows, God help us all. Because I mean, I'm hearing weird figures that we've never heard before, 15 to 20%. That's really scary stuff. But so we'll have a lot to consider this fall. And we will be doing that. We're not locked into anybody going forward into 27 whatsoever. So every year it's an annual renewal and everyone gets to pick. And as far as employees not being involved, I've said it before, companies, schools, towns pick the brokers, employees pick their plans. That's how it's done. So employees don't get a say so in who the broker will be. The town board does. So.
Joe, quick point of clarification. The resolution says retirees and Medicare eligible participants. Do we have any folks that are Medicare eligible that aren't retired that also applying to?
Yeah, I believe there's one person approaching that, which is why I said 6 to 7. That 7th person, I believe, I don't have the data or facts, but I believe there is another person who will be of age and transitioning to Medicare. So. Does that answer your question?
Yeah.
Rebecca?
Oh, yeah, sorry, yes.
Okay. Okay, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Abstain.
Thank you. Any opposed?
Aye.
Okay, the motion passes. You can, if you want to read that, you can shorten this one up to the very bottom.
Yeah, so Move to vote on the proposal for the 2026 non-point source planning grant application as defined in item 17 in the draft agenda. The town board and the town of Minden authorize the acceptance of the proposal of the MRB group dated April 9th for professional services related to the preparation and submission of the 2026 New York State DEC non-point source planning grant application for culverts in the amount of $6,000.
I'll second that.
Okay, any discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Oh, sorry, one discussion. Where,
Discussion?
yeah, does it say which budget item that's coming from?
Oh. Accept.
Hmm.
This grant is just for the study.
Yes, that's correct. Yes. Hey,
Have we received the grant yet?
This is to apply for it, right?
yeah, we haven't received the grant yet. This is to apply, for it, correct? So we do have to commit to the percent of that, you know, the towns.
If awarded, that would be another discussion, yes.
Okay,
The town could either accept the grant or not accept.
okay, so we still have an out if we don't like the terms, or like if we decide we don't want to move forward with this. We still have an out next round after we receive, of course, we have to receive the grant and be awarded it, but if we are, then we'll have another decision to make whether to accept it. Okay,
Tom, could you just real quick, describe for everyone what, the grant will fund? Is it all written out there in the?
Basically, fund the study of several culverts within the town of Mendon that are experiencing drainage concerns. Culverts would be identified by the highway DPW, code enforcement, as well as past indications of issues. This would be a combination of not small residential driveway culverts, but more larger culverts that would require studying to determine whether they could be upsized, confirmation of impacts upstream and downstream, and what an overall budget could be. This grant would allow you to complete that study, and then there would be a potentially additional application made for funding to do that construction.
and that's why there isn't an account listed here, because it would have to be awarded before we would make that resolution. You know, and I don't mind chiming in. I have a list of flood issues that people have been calling me since I got here and discussing that. And I've gone out to see a lot of these properties, so I'll of course share that with you. And not to mention that the state has recognized that the culvert at Route 251 in the hamlet is problematic. So it's already being recognized by the state as a big problem. Not to mention that the governor has earmarked a lot of funds for flooding in this state because of the weather changes. We have significant flooding issues around the state, and the state is pitching in and encouraging people to spend some money to fix these problems. So I think it's.
Yeah, so are you referring to that grant? I assume that the Resilient Watersheds Grant, RWG program, that's out right now?
That is another grant opportunity.
Yeah,
What we
there
should
was a
do,
2022 study from the DEC that, yeah, identified that particular culvert as being exceptionally problematic for the state. Or was it the county? I can't remember now, but we should probably think about, you know, using that report when we go to apply, at the very least, when we apply for a second round of funding.
absolutely. I think, Tom, does the study also attribute some cost to fixing these issues?
It does, so it'll come up with at least a budget estimate, what it would take the contractor to get in there and perform the work.
Okay.
So the other grant is the resiliency grant, it's very similar. It has to typically, project that is already identified could be used towards that. So, I don't know that the grant, the particular location that we're talking about has been studied for replacement or improvements. It's just been identified as a potential location that needs improvements. If that makes sense.
Yeah, and for that one, it's a minimum award amount of 150,000. It could go up to 10 million. But the deadline for the application is later this month, so I don't know if we have time
That
to
would
try
be-
to pull something together.
If I think I understand, that would be for people that did the study last year. And then
Yeah,
they
there was a, yeah,
need to rectify problems they've identified. So we're a year, behind them. We're just doing the studies at this point.
well, no, the study had already been done and that
Oh,
specific culvert was identified as like one
right.
of the top, problems.
Right.
So, I mean, the application could write itself, but you can just point to that study that was already done.
You can point to the study, but it doesn't provide a solution.
No, it doesn't.
That's what this branch does.
That's what this does, solution. Okay,
Solution.
And then we will apply for everything and anything we can find, if we decide to take that route, to help offset the cost.
got it. Well, that's exciting.
Okay,
How are we funding the $6,000?
well, it doesn't have to be named at this point because we have another out.
No, it doesn't.
Yeah, because we have to
Oh,
pay
yeah.
him to do the application.
Yeah, that's just to pay them to write the proposal, right?
Yes. So what do you-
Yeah, our portion of it,
What do you mean?
but.
So we have to pay
oh,
MRB
right,
$6,000
right. Yeah, we
to
do have to
draft
pay,
it, right?
don't we? Yes, I was thinking we didn't have to pay. Okay, well, we don't have, an account number there, so, if Michelle can come up with one quick.
I don't have.
one.
There's a lot.
I guess we would have to table that, and I don't know what that does to the possibilities here.
Can-
I can call our grant administrator that sounds like. I'm hearing that you guys would like to potentially move forward with this grant.
Can we do an informal poll without a resolution, asking if everyone here is in favor of such a thing? At least at this point in time, so that Tom can proceed with the paperwork end of it.
So flooding has been a significant issue for the town on several events over the past 2 years, and
Yeah.
opportunities to remedy or mitigate that in the future are very appealing to me.
Me too. I drove down and saw Plains Road underwater, and we were lucky no damage came of
What are
it.
you looking at?
Looking at,
DB 5115.4.
I think you come out of DB. Here.
It's drainage easements.
That's all.
Which one is it?
We're working on it.
Okay.
Sorry about this.
Is there planning projects in B?
They're drainage easements.
There should be a planning projects.
Drainage, yeah. It would be that account. Because if we got the funds, they would go into the drainage account.
Well, no, grants go under their own.
Oh, but then eventually are moved into
but we're
the,
talking about paying for the writing of the grant.
right,
Right.
So right now, there's $17,000 in that account.
In the planning.
right.
Well,
And that's what
Planning
I,
projects.
this drainage easement contractual.
yeah, that's correct. Pete and I had a conversation about that, but, I think we can use that account number. I would say that we use that account number, the drainage account number. That's what we would pay our portion out of.
It's not our portion though, just to be clear. It's just to pay MRB to write the proposal.
Right.
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 Okay.
Planning,
What is it? DB what?
5115.4.
DB is highway.
Yes.
Okay, outside village.
thank you,
I
Tom.
think it should actually be this one.
Okay,
So I
I'll
think it
ask
should be,
Tom, but Tanner suggests B 8023.4, as does our deputy. So, what do you think? I'm
it's
new
the,
here.
it's the, planning projects
project
contractual fee
contractual.
fund.
That
Because
makes
we're,
sense, right?
we're paying for,
Okay, so, I will
We do.
reread this. Can we reread it and add that project or that, account number, please?
give me just a second to show it to Kim.
Yes, sir, that's-
Oh, there you go. Underlined at the
Thank
bottom.
you. Oh. There. What is that?
Yeah, just nothing.
Just
Are
not-
we all good with
I
that
don't know.
account number?
Well, but we have to, if there's two of these, we'll need,
So what's the next one gonna come out?
yeah,
Yeah, there's two of them.
Okay, let's do one out of the drainage and one out of the planning projects, if we're allowed to do that.
I don't think you can pull it for drainage because it's, we're paying for a proposal, we're not paying to,
Okay, let's pass one out of,
Yeah.
B 8023.4.
and then table the
And
second.
table the other with, in a popular opinion from the board that we would like to pursue that. Am I hearing that?
So, okay. For
Will we-
number 17,
Yep,
we're taking the 6,000 out of,
B 8023.4.
okay.
Okay, so that's all we're voting on right now. Okay, all in favor, say aye. Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Rebecca,
Aye.
any opposed? So moved. Number 18, we can't,
I moved to table.
yeah, we're gonna, make a motion to table number 18 proposal. For 26 non-point source planning grant application.
This one by. the way-
Before we vote on that. Oh, sorry, Michelle.
Oh, here, go ahead.
Go ahead.
What's the deadline for that grant application, Tom?
They're all at like the end of June, July here, so.
Well, if it's end of June, then we're not gonna be able to do it this year.
They're not the
If
end,
it's
of
end of,
like July, end of July, I believe.
End of
Okay.
July, Rebecca, so we still have time. I'm hearing, I think I'm hearing and say nay, if I'm not hearing this, the board is in favor of pursuing that once we attach the proper funding account to it.
And the point of this grant is really to allow the town, state has basically told the town, all the towns, if you're in a municipal separate stormwater MS4 district, that you need to map all of your drainage infrastructure that discharges to other communities. You need to keep track of it, you need to maintain it, you need to do other provisions of it. And so town decided the funds to do that. And so they offer grant opportunities while the town to assist in the mapping side of it. And our services would include going out and walking with the DPW and your MS4 administrator, which is Corey Gates, and locating them, mapping them, getting them on a central map, and starting that. Part of the intention.
So Tom, I'm hearing that we're in favor of that, even though we're tabling it, and that we will bring it back up in July.
Great, thank you.
Tom,
We need a-
isn't there a time limit when this has to be done?
Yeah.
Or there is a time limit, correct?
Will you be able to pull together the application in basically 2.5 weeks once we vote on it?
I'm going to, that's why I'm asking for the preliminary. We're taking a risk, right? But not really, because I've heard from you, the board, you guys are in favor of this. We know it's.
I see.
And I'm going to direct our grant writer, Lori Fox, to speak, and then she can have her team move forward with it.
Thank you. Appreciate
Yeah,
that.
thank you.
just out of an abundance of clarity, there is zero commitment from the town board for the second grant.
So the commitment there will be a local match ultimately.
No, I'm sorry. So we have two resolutions before the board today for two separate grants that MRB will draft in support of Mendon.
Yes.
So we have passed one. And there
We
is,
have passed one, the second one, it does not sound like you passed, which is fine.
yes,
We still need, Lori will need to generate some paperwork for you, for the board to sign.
Mhm.
So at the next meeting, I would anticipate that you have some resolutions for you guys to sign. And we can have a conversation on those. I don't know all the details, she handles that. But
thank you.
Thank you.
And also out of an abundance of clarity, is that what you said, Tanner? There is a small match, like if we're awarded. They're very small though. It looks like 5,000 for the first one and 7,500 for the second, but just so we're all
Correct.
aware, there will be a commitment
Yep.
from the town.
Okay, number 19.
So, I'm sorry, was there a second for tabling the motion?
I'll second.
Who was the first?
I was.
Tanner.
We've done discussion, all in favor of tabling the amendment?
Aye.
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 Any opposed? So moved. Number 19.
I'll make a motion to approve the addition of a new supervisor cell phone line. The board authorizes the procurement of the device and approves ongoing monthly plan expenditure of approximately $32.45. Acknowledging that the initial bill will reflect standard prorated advanced billing charges.
Do you have a second?
A second.
I'll second.
All in favor, say aye.
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 Any opposed? So moved. 20, procurement policy.
All right,
Tanner's up.
Whereas the town board desires to establish effective purchasing controls, maintain sound fiscal stewardship, and ensure compliance with New York State General Municipal Law, GML, Section 103. I move that it be resolved that the town board hereby adopts the Town of Mendon procurement policy as set forth below, applicable to all employees and all budget lines A, B, H, DA, and DB, effective immediately once passed.
Okay, do I have a second?
Second.
Okay. Discussion.
Yeah, so I want to highlight, sorry, go ahead, Tom.
I talked to Denise today, and I believe you and her have gone over the changes she wanted to make.
Yes, sir.
Those are reflected in here.
Yep, so can I go through a couple changes? So we talked about it last month. Want to just highlight the primary changes between last month and today, including the follow-up discussions with the highway department. So there were a couple lingering references to POs. It's not standard procurement policy for Mendon or the highway department to mandate a purchase order. So I removed those and changed references to POs to quotes, whether written or verbal. In section 2, the purchasing authority matrix, I added an additional line to better differentiate between department head authority or supervisors for a department and the town supervisor or highway superintendent for increased procurement amounts.
So, Tanner,
Yes.
it,
Before we talk.
Do we have a second to approve?
Rebecca
Oh.
seconded.
Yeah, okay, go ahead.
yeah, I second it. Thank you so much for the work you did, and with the highway department to pull this together. I'm looking at the original, or I guess, the most current version of the procurement policy, which looks like it was adopted in 2024. And it's what you presented is very different. Maybe it's just the format. I'm wondering if like an attorney has Megan looked at it to make sure it looks okay from her perspective, or
If I may.
this is very different.
You may, yes, I have reviewed it. All the portions that need to conform to the general municipal law procurement requirements do. There is some discretion and flexibility with amounts under, 20,000 or 35,000, depending on the type of contract. And, I understand that Member Cheek has worked very closely with, town staff to ensure that those portions actually are practical from a workability sense. And they are in line with what I see from other municipalities as well.
Thank you.
Well,
A lot of this started because highway department's hands were kind of tied in terms of ordering specific parts to keep trucks on the road. So in order to untie their hands, Tanner took it upon himself to actually go out there, meet with Carter, meet with Pete, and talk with everybody out there, and came up with this. So the communication was excellent, the cooperation was excellent, and I commend you on a great job of putting this together. And I reviewed it today, and it makes a lot of sense to me, and it does achieve the original purpose that we were intending. And it, protects the town and unties the hands of Carter, the mechanic, to actually keep our vehicles on the road. I mean, you don't want snowplows sitting in the shop with a foot of snow on the ground. So,
There's a section in the original policy about emergency purchases and when you can make an emergency purchase.
Mhm.
And what happens, what the, expectations are around those. Am I just missing it?
So-
Patient plan and everything else in place through this proposal.
Oh, there's a,
Flexibility with emergency purposes.
So
there is an emergency purpose.
if you look at the matrix in section 2, it defines what emergency purchasing threshold should be by the employee, the department head, and the supervisor and superintendent.
Oh,
And
yeah,
then
that's got it.
section 4 actually goes through and provides a little bit of additional definition on what potentially qualifies for an emergency purchase. If you make an emergency
Yeah.
purchase, it defines that you must notify the town supervisor within 1 business day of the commitment. You must, or you shall provide a detailed written explanation of what the emergency is, what vendor you selected, and that the cost is filed with the town clerk. Also that the purchase is presented for formal board ratification at the next scheduled board meeting. Yes, the purchase is already completed and, conforms to the policy. Still would like to go before the board just for documentation and follow up.
Perfect. I think it's great. I just wanted to make sure I understood what was transferring over from the original into the new. Because it's not easy to just look and see. You can't see the changes that were made. So that's all. I just wanted to make sure that Megan had her eyes on it and she had no issues.
and Pete, you're good?
Yes.
Okay. I already knew that answer, but for the public.
And really want to say a special shout out and thank you to Denise's support and help. I know she was very reactive, very helpful in kind of explaining what some of the challenges are with the highway department. I know Carter was very helpful, kind of explaining to me what some of the challenges are in getting multiple competitive quotes whenever you need a blade for a plow, for example, and there's only one real OEM. So just really wanted to say thank you and appreciate the support.
Absolutely. Denise and Carter are awesome. We've got great people working for this town. So, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Hi.
Any opposed? So moved. And
All
we're
right.
on to the last resolution. I hope it's a quick one. Driving class resolution authorizing the use of the community center parking lot. Whereas a request has been made to utilize the town community center parking lot to conduct a driving class for adults. This would authorize, be it resolved that this authorization applies strictly to the specified purpose and is entirely contingent upon the full satisfaction of all conditions listed above. I make the motion to approve driving class use at the community center, dependent on the conditions that are listed here. Administration and oversight, instructor verification, scheduling and lot safety, liability waivers and status, and legal review.
I'll second.
Discussion?
Do they rent
I have
it
some
just like
questions.
normal? Is that what they're doing? Like they'll rent it that day so nobody else does?
Well, there's, yes, they would have to reserve it because it would have to be, yes,
So they'll pay for it.
yes. They pay their deposit like everybody else, and then it's reimbursable when they're done. If there's no damage to the parking lot. So,
Whose job is it gonna be to make sure all of these requirements are satisfied? Is that you, Joe?
I guess that would be me. That would be,
Um,
yeah, we'll have to make sure that they've turned in all of this, met all these requirements, yes.
I mean, there are quite a few requirements here, so I would ask that you, once these requirements are all satisfied and before classes start, you just let the board know.
Sure,
So that we can all just feel confident that all of these requirements have been satisfied.
yeah, we won't be skipping over any of them. But yes, absolutely, we'll let you know, I'll know.
And do we have a standard waiver already that folks would sign?
We do,
Okay,
That has been approved by the insurance company as well.
Yep.
So. You're welcome.
okay,
Joe, I have some questions.
yes, go ahead.
This says name. Just liaison of the town must be named to oversee the activity. Is that every activity, every time?
No, just for a driving class.
Okay. And what happens in the scheduling and lot safety? If they pull in to do their driving class and people are always parking there, walking their dogs, you know, there could be 4 or 5 vehicles there. You know, states no vehicles are permitted in the parking lot at the time. So do they leave? Or do we try to round up the people that have the cars to get them to leave?
Great question.
well, that's the scheduling. It says scheduling and lot safety. I mean, I think we need to come up with that plan for sure, as part of the,
Yeah, the issue is
Yes.
that people pull in their park.
I have, you know, just my own feeling, but I have a feeling after they see all these requirements, they're gonna find a different parking lot. But, I mean, that's just me speaking the truth of what I think will happen, but, you know.
Yeah, because I know the village parks their truck and trailer there when they're mowing the cemetery.
Yep,
It's,
I suppose if we have this on the calendar, because they've met all of these requirements and it's on the calendar, we can inform the people that you're aware of that park there ahead of time. I don't know who they all are, I'm not
neither do
aware.
I. People park, get out with their dogs
Walk them.
and walk the
Oh.
dog.
Was it considered a municipal parking lot? That's well,
So,
under, you know, because of, you know, buildings and grounds maintains, you know, snow plowing, salt and stuff like that.
yep,
My opinion would be that it's considered municipal parking, so, you know, municipal, you know, public parking.
yep. Therefore, we can't control who parks there. Well, I suppose we could, you know, we could control it if we wanted to and close the thing off, but I don't think that's in the best interest of the whole town. I mean, I'd love to help this group with this.
how
But
many classes is it?
as far as I know, they're just asking for one, but if you meet all these requirements, they can continue doing it when they want to. You know, as long as they pay their deposit for the date and meet all these requirements. So I imagine once they've met them one time, waivers and such would apply going forward. Is that
And-
true?
We can draft the waiver broad enough that it would apply.
Yeah, my question is, you know, we approve this, say if there's no other vehicles, and there's a vehicle parked there, and they're doing their driver training, and they run into somebody's vehicle there, are we
Right.
covered?
Well,
Or would that be up to them?
Go ahead.
That's why we don't want vehicles there.
But how can we enforce? I think that's hard to enforce.
I mean, you could, with enough advance notice, maybe an hour before the class starts, actually close the lot to the public for a certain duration.
Or for that day, or that night. It would have to be the night before, probably. There's probably some overnight parkers in there, I would think. I don't know. Are there, Tom? You think there's overnight parkers in there?
I think
No,
there's a
not
house
usually.
that says no overnight.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's no overnight.
Okay,
Just put some cones across the driveway,
we could
a
close
couple hours before.
we would be required to do.
So we're gonna run another expense. And who's gonna be responsible?
Yeah, so you have to pay somebody to close it off. and-
Buildings and grounds or highway would have to put the cones there and pick them up.
Well, I mean, this says the town must inspect the parking lot prior to use to ensure there are no defects or open hazards. So, and somebody's going there anyway, according to this, to inspect. So somebody's going anyway.
That could be done, but it's,
I mean, we can approve this and it doesn't mean it's going to happen if all of these, however many bullets this is, 5, aren't satisfied, then it doesn't happen.
I think it's a good question. If they pay the deposit, they show up, there is a car in the parking lot. Do they forfeit their right of use for that day?
We can't let them.
I mean, you gotta remember the Legionnaires have every right to the building.
Yeah,
Right.
right.
Park there
Yeah,
too.
that's right. There's lots of things to consider here. So do we want to bring it up for a vote?
I'm not comfortable.
You want
Yeah.
to table? Motion to table this resolution? There a second?
I will motion to table this.
I'll second.
Okay. All in favor?
Wait, I have a discussion before we vote on it.
I thought we were having discussion, but
Well, now we're discussing the tabling. Just what are we tabling it until? Like, what do we have to
the
do?
next
Just,
meeting, if we decide to bring up the resolution again. I think it'll give me an opportunity to speak with the group about these requirements and see if they're willing to meet them. And if they aren't, then the story's over. And if they are, then we would bring it up as a resolution next month.
so whether they're willing to meet those, but then also kind of the rules or policies around what to do if there's cars there. Or how to stop cars from being there before the class.
Well,
Okay.
let's find out if they're gonna meet these requirements. If they say no, it's over.
Okay,
Yes, then we have to consider next month closing the parking lot the night before, keep vehicles out of there.
okay.
All right, all in favor of tabling this motion?
Aye.
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 Any opposed? So moved. Okay, library. Mary has been waiting very patiently for our business to be over. And we're hearing, this is Mary Church, President of the Library Trustees.
Always a pleasure to see you. Thank you for coming in tonight.
I'm sorry, thank you for
But I
correcting.
want to thank you all for your enthusiastic and ongoing support of the library. To invite you to the 15th anniversary celebration of our new library building. It doesn't seem possible, does it, that many years pass since we combined the historical sources of the town village and our tremendous community to make this new building a reality. And there it stands, modest in size but profound in scope, a town jewel, a beloved and trusted community institution, truly as we promised in our capital campaign. Part of our town. Our library is one of the few places in the community that is open, welcoming, and accessible to everyone, regardless of age, background, or circumstance. A vital community resource that supports learning, connection, and opportunity for all. Babies, kids, teens, and adults gather in its bright, airy spaces, to share stories and songs, craft, learn new things, and try novel technologies. Friendships are cultivated, readers are encouraged, and information advances people's lives. Did you know that the first library in our town opened in 1872? Mr. Francis Joris, who had come to the town in 1863 to found Big Mendon's Free Press newspaper, purchased a number of books and created the Joris Circulating Library. In 1895, the Ladies' Wednesday Afternoon Fortnightly Club raised $8 and started a traveling library. 3 years later, they were so successful that a Mr. Parks allowed them to use space in his store. This library ultimately circulated 500 books from 2 rooms on Main Street and was known as the Honeywood Falls Library. Over the years, other iterations followed and continued increasing success, culminating in the dedication of our newest library building in 2011. But let's fast forward to some highlights from 2025. Last year, the library logged 48,361 visits and circulated more than 109,000 items, up 8,000 from the previous year. Volunteers contributed 580 hours of their time. The library's summer reading program, Color Our World, was a smashing success. 2,350 attendees of all ages participated in 164 programs last summer. This stellar offering is made possible by the Friends, the village and the town, and the contributions of local businesses, community organizations, and private individuals. Team services were expanded last year through the leadership of a summer intern who is now a staff member and continues to engage this age group with exciting new opportunities. You'll see them taking advantage of our sunny teen corner every time you visit, and you may catch them in costume at the library's clownfish mascot, Clementine, at a special event. And if you visited the library in recent months, you would notice our new circulating puzzle collection, our expanded teen and adult graphic novel collections, and the cell phone and tablet charging station in the Jacobs Reading Room. Last year, I'm especially proud to announce Mendon Public Library was one of the very first libraries in our region to join the Sustainable Libraries Initiative and begin working towards sustainable library certification. This initiative provides library leaders with a structured path to co-create resilient, regenerative, and thriving communities by balancing environmental stewardship, social equity, and economic feasibility. Stop by the library and pick up some seats for your library savior. And this is my favorite statistic of all. More than 8,600 people joined us in learn of one or more of the 626 programs the Friends held possible last year. From plein air painting, poem making, financial planning, and travel logs, to a chicken story time, puppet theater, magic shows, and Zoomobile visits. A few Saturdays ago, the HFL High School Jazz Combo wowed attendees with slamming hits, and then held an instrument petting zoo, allowing kids a hands-on opportunity for them to ask questions, touch the instruments, and perhaps be inspired to play them someday. And if you haven't had a chance to be absolutely charmed by the emerging readers who banish their fears and shyness to read aloud to Finley, a golden retriever who gazes at them adoringly and loses their confidence, try to sneak a peek on the second or third Tuesday of some month at 6:30 in the evening, kind of overwhelming. This is just a small sampling of the wealth of programming offered week in and week out at the library. Story times, some now in Spanish. The Lego Club, and the bingo between teen craft times and knit-note, overdose prevention programs, offerings on the history of Rochester's parks, and sponsored walks. Presentations by the Rochester Museum and Science Center, technology training. I can't begin to this all. Your generosity and the leadership of the Friends keep them coming. And that brings me to a very special invitation. On behalf of the Friends, the Library Board of Trustees, Library Director Lila Grills, and library staff and volunteers, I am thrilled to ask you to join us during the week of June 22nd for an exciting 15th anniversary celebration of the dedication of our newest library building. Exciting programs are planned for the entire week, which will also mark the years, like the launch of this year's summer reading program. I hope to see you there. I have a press release that mentions all of this that I won't do. And I now ask you to support and continue the library's legacy by considering a tax deductible gift to the Friends of Bennett Public Libraries unearth a story annual appeal. Your generosity will help us create new and wonderful stories, sustain its programming, and support long-term bonus. Also, please consider joining me in a new venture this year by becoming a sustaining member of Bennett Public Library and making a tax-deductible gift to the library's endowment fund to ensure Bennett Public Library remains a vibrant community resource for generations to come. Your contributions to encourage will help ensure we reach the minimum threshold of $50,000 required to qualify for an excellent investment opportunity of the Rochester Area Foundation. Establishing this endowment will ensure we are well positioned to meet our future needs and respond to new opportunities. By pooling our resources from other organizations through the foundation, we can benefit from their historic success in supporting nonprofits and helping them to achieve their goals. We've done our research and reached out to 50 friends of Monroe County and the surrounding libraries, and they report outstanding results in their investments through RACF. Our town is growing and changing in promising ways. Today's library builds on a proud history, and your support of this new endowment fund will carry that legacy forward, enabling us to be well positioned to meet the library's future needs and respond to new opportunities. In closing, I know you'll agree that by any measure, Bennett Public Library is a resounding success. Together, we preserve community traditions and institutions, create meaningful experiences for ourselves, our children, and our grandchildren, support organizations that strengthen our town, and leave a legacy all to impact. Combined with your leadership and advocacy, I know we will be successful. Taking a bit of liberty with the announcement we hear at the start of every PBS program, our success in programming are made possible by the generous contributions of. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Mary. I'd say 15 years ago, that was a fantastic investment. Oh, thank you.
Planned for
Thank
the
you.
anniversary week.
Awesome.
Thank you.
And Mo, thank you too, because I don't know if anyone else here was directly involved way back. I don't know, Tom, you've been around a while, but thank you all for your efforts at getting that library going. There isn't a day go by that somebody doesn't say to me, I love our library. And I mean, I'm serious. I hear it all the time. So, thank you.
I'm just very person.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Okay, I would suggest we table the urgent care discussion until after the meeting on the 22nd.
Can I just bring something up though?
You may.
Because it does pertain to the town, we do have a stake in that. If we have a quorum, should we announce it as a special meeting? If more than 3 of us attend that, we probably shouldn't have more than 3
Well,
or 2.
I would think though, aren't we allowed to attend public events?
You are allowed to attend public events as long as you're not discussing amongst yourselves topics that should be discussed at a town board meeting. That is totally fine. I think I would encourage you not to sit next to each other because sometimes, just conversation can lead to things people want to know and talk about. So you can all go. I suggest that you sit in different places, that you not ride together separately, and try to avoid each other.
And can individuals from the board speak at that?
Absolutely. Yeah.
Okay.
Absolutely.
I know Tom and Tom worked on the statement.
Yeah.
Is the statement that you're giving as representative of the town, or is it you as a resident?
And is that going to be shared with us?
Yeah, can we?
The packet.
Oh, is it? Okay.
And I would say that
As a town.
it's as a town. We're looking out for the town's interest in this venture. We're not opposed to urgent care in any way, shape, or form, but there are considerations that we have to consider as a town that affect us.
You said it's in the packet?
Yep,
No,
there is a page in there.
I must have missed that one.
It's a letter from Tom Fromberger and MRB.
Oh, I do have that one.
There's a lot of letters in the.
Yeah.
I have the culvert, I have the mapping.
If it's coming from the town, do we need to all weigh in? Do we need to vote on it? Should we vote on it?
Not a bad idea.
Who said that?
Megan,
Megan.
Okay.
I don't see it.
I don't,
see it.
Yeah,
Okay,
is it required? Like maybe we don't need to.
You don't need to vote on it, like, it all depends on,
yeah, it's not a resolution, it's just a letter, it's a letter. And it was given to all of the officials at that meeting. And they'll, at the next meeting, I would hope they're gonna answer those questions, so. I don't think we need to vote on anything at this point in time, but I believe I emailed that letter to all of you. I'm sorry, it's not in the packet.
Is it in there?
no, Tom has it,
Oh.
so this is Tom's copy.
Well,
It was written by Tom,
right,
so it's not addressed from, or it's not from you.
right, we're not, right.
Yeah.
Now, you read it and you are entitled to speak at it, or at a public meeting, but.
But I hadn't read it, so that was part of the
It's
question.
Tom's letter.
Okay.
it's a review letter. Huh?
Yeah, it's a review letter.
Thank you.
So it's a review letter, no different than any other planning board or
Yeah.
board application. You can agree with it, or you can disagree with it. You know, that's obviously.
It's, yeah, Rebecca, I just looked at the letter. So it's from town engineer Tom, not town board member Tom. And it is signed by town engineer Tom, not referencing all of the town board members.
It was,
Do we want a statement from the town board?
eventually, yes. I don't think we need it tonight. I don't think we're prepared to make a statement at this point. Okay, are we good? Okay, EMS updates and coverage. Any discussion on that?
So I just wanted to provide the public and the board kind of a general update on where we were with the EMS. So there's two separate topics that we are working with the town of Honey Eye Falls for EMS. The first is a review of the contract, and as a very quick high-level reminder, the contract is shared between Honey Eye Falls, Minden, and West Bloomfield. And there are three different items that make up how much each municipal entity contributes to the Honey Eye Falls Minden Volunteer Ambulance Service. Those three metrics are population, total land assessed value, and total number of calls. So there's discussion between myself on behalf of Minden and Honey Eye Falls about, are those the correct metrics and should they change in order to make sure we are providing appropriate funding to Honey Eye Falls Minden Volunteer Ambulance Service, as well as being good stewards of our taxpayers' dollars that are coming in. If you remember, if you compare that to like a fire district, a lot of intermunicipal agreements are based solely on land assessed value. So I think that being able to incorporate population and actual calls is a good thing. You know, if you go to the other extreme, it's only based on call volume, but that provides a very irregular funding stream for our emergency service volunteers, and there's not a lot of kind of funding assuredness from year to year. So there's a lot of conversation going back and forth around what those three metrics should be. Should it be two? Should it be something different? If you have any ideas, certainly welcome to recommendations on what the funding mechanism should be. And then there's one other discussion going on as well about the idea or the opportunity to add a second ambulance rig stationed at the Minden Fire Department to provide additional coverage and faster response times to parts of Minden. So the Honey Eye Falls Ambulance Service, and I can pass some of these out, and if anybody, So we put together kind of a high level evaluation of, okay, we don't necessarily need a second rig 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. So we went through a couple different scenarios around what is the right amount of time? Should we do it for, 1 day, 3 day, 5 days, or 7 days a week? Most likely it'll be 12 hours a day. We, trying to target kind of the highest used, highest call volume times. And then going through an analysis to say, what's the expected call volume for that time? How many calls have we missed in, I'll say Honey I Falls fiscal year 2025 that we would not only potentially be able to respond to, but also collect the insurance funding and third-party billing for those calls. So what we are discussing right now is kind of the hypothetical of if we brought a second ambulance in service 5 days a week for 12 hours a day, the total cost of that would be around $3,300 per week. And then if we extrapolate that out, or if we look and say, okay, we want to do kind of a 16-week trial to get a good basis of what the cost looks like, what the call volume looks like, how frequently are they being called out, not just within those 3 municipalities, but being able to support other towns whenever there's not service available, and trying to look at, okay, a maximum if they were sitting at the fire department for 16 weeks with 0 calls coming out at all, it would be about a $52,800 total cost. Of course, that's not very realistic. We know that they responded to exactly 1,200, I think it was 1,200 calls last year. So we've got really good data around how many calls we are missing because they're already out on a call. We don't have a lot of good data around mutual aid that we're missing. So mutual aid requests from other towns that they would then respond to. And again, every call is not just, saving somebody's life or potentially saving somebody's life, but it is third-party billings and revenue to the department as well that helps offset the tax burden for our taxpayers. So if we think that the max is not very realistic, if we average and say, okay, they will respond to 1 call every 12 hours, then it's actually contributing to the tax base. It's actually around a $10,000 total savings, around a $6,000 savings to Minden. Or kind of a probably more realistic, more average is that they're responding to about 1 call per shift, which would be an incremental cost to all 3 municipalities of about $21,000 and an incremental cost to Minden of about $12,700. So kind of what I wanted to bring up and kind of explain the thought process behind the evaluation. And then are we interested in taking money out of reserves to cover that? Should we, because this is not a part of the current contract, there is potential to negotiate a lower contribution rate for Minden if we do not contribute the full 60%, if we do not have the full amount, but we still want to fund the study. So just kind of wanted to open that up for discussion, get the board's thoughts on that, and your thoughts on the approach.
Tanner?
Yes.
Go ahead.
Thank you. That I think I have a copy of what is it the spreadsheet? Is that what you shared
Yes, ma'am.
with everyone?
Yes.
So you said 1,200 calls in a year?
Ooh, let me go back and double check that number.
Sounds right.
I mean, there's 365 days in a year, so they're responding like 4 times a day, three times a day.
So give me 2 seconds and I will double check that number.
Okay. Average 2 calls.
So, yep, in
12 hours.
In Honey I Falls fiscal year, they responded to exactly 1,200 calls in 1 year in 365 days. And that's with 1 ambulance service. Just to kind of give a rough order. So in May, we did track how many mutual aid calls were requested. And they were requested 18 times for mutual aid just in May.
And is there data on people who have had adverse outcomes because our response time is too slow?
I would venture to guess that's not something that would be very readily studied.
Yeah. Is Mo acting supervisor right now?
Yes.
Okay.
Have you run this by Mendon? They have room for the housing ambulance?
Yes, sir. Yeah.
So your question is, what you're after is, do we want to do a 16-week study?
Yeah. So, well, I mean, the first question is, do we want to look and make sure that we have budget? I am always hesitant to expend funds without being overly sure that we, one, have it in the budget, and two, I want to be conscious of what that would be coming at the expense of. But yeah, the overarching question is, do we want to entertain a 16-week trial to see what happens to response times, missed calls, and our ability to potentially respond to other outside mutual aid? As you know, as you probably know, in order to have a CON, you have to respond to mutual aid calls. So if the ambulance gets called out to a call in Pittsford, that means for that entire drive, response, and return time, they're unavailable for the town of Mendon or Honey Falls, West Bloomfield, etc.
What's a CON?
A certificate of need from the Department of Health. Your ability to have an ambulance service.
I see. And we have a second vehicle already.
So that's one of the really interesting parts about the trial, is we already have all of the equipment, all of the capital, and assuming we put it in Mendon Fire Department, there's no additional capital or investment. It is just the operational expense of having an additional ALS and BLS responder on call.
Yeah, they do have adequate staffing.
We have access to adequate staffing. It would be, so many of our EMS are per diem type employees that the Honey Falls Mendon Voluntary Ambulance Service would open up additional shifts to be available that the per diems would sign up for. And that's really the bulk of the cost. So I have on the left-hand side what the hourly cost of an ALS and a BLS is. Advanced life-saving support, qualified EMS responder, and a basic life-saving support.
And is Honey Falls or Bloomfield contributing to this?
Of course, yeah.
Just
okay. So Honey Falls is in favor of doing the trial. I have not talked to West Bloomfield.
I'd like to remind the board that you do have a contingency fund, and there is money available in that contingency fund.
Thank you, Mo, for that reminder. So tonight, are you asking for a vote on something, or are you just raising it? Okay.
I am not tonight, because there's, so in the spreadsheet that I laid out, I tried to be as data rich as possible to talk about, is 3 days a week or 5 days a week the right trial. I can also send out kind of a graph of typical responses by month. So, there is a little bit of variability month to month as far as typical responses.
So is your suggestion, Tanner, at this point to send out additional data for the board to consider? Sure.
Yeah, if you can, if the board can tell me, or if the board can kind of indicate what other information you would like to see in order to bring it up for a vote, I can, over the next month, make sure that we get that data presented in a, easily digestible format. That way, we have the data, we've got everything that makes everybody comfortable, whether you're in support of the trial or not, you can make an informed vote.
Is there any data out there that shows what day of the week there's more calls?
They track.
It's a great.
For time, from 6 in the morning till noon to 6 p.m. They track days of the week, hours of the day. Between 9 a.m. and 4 p.m. There's different call volumes that they track very closely.
Absolutely, yeah.
And I know a lot of it's based on operational. To put an ambulance over in Benton's Firehouse, if the ambulance in Honey Falls goes out on a call, then you have to have resource that can relocate halfway in between or whatever. That's up to the ambulance to, logistically, go over the call data or the volume data and stuff like that. I don't know if I'm just so good for discussion, but I've been involved in emergency services for almost 50 years, both fire and ambulance. And I think it's a very, very good idea. I think it's well worth a study. I think the numbers support it. I think the critical times are when an ambulance is out of service in a village.
Yeah.
And the only thing that I know for a fact is I know they do take calls, not just to Pittsford or whatever, but they do take calls a long, long ways away.
So
the mental hygiene calls and even a commercial ambulance, Monroe or an AMR or whatever, I know Honey Falls has got set dispenser for mental hygiene calls.
I
really warn against that type of response, but you do you or don't you? But I know there's a lot of ambulances in between that will say we don't have resources available. 15 minutes later, they get a call. All of a sudden, an ambulance appears. So the EMS system does play some of those games. I know their mentality here is you don't turn down a call, but
people,
you got to go with a practical common sense approach too. But I think it's a very, very good idea. I think there are times when a second ambulance crew. I know if you get to a cardiac arrest and stuff like that, it's to have an extra 2 sets of hands and everything else.
Yeah.
Honey Falls Fire Department's got the per diem firefighters.
Mm-hmm.
A couple of them are paramedics that are cleared in the system. They're all, career firefighters that are EMTs. You have similar resource in Mendon. They're not similar, but comparable resource in Mendon. So it is, very worthwhile chance. My only question, I get the 16-week thing study.
Mm-hmm.
If at the 16-week study you have the evaluation, well, maybe this isn't quite what we anticipated. Now you're getting into a staffing issue where now those per diem people that they did hire potentially now they're kind of are they out of a job or whatever. So I kind of get that point of it too.
Yeah. Yeah, and that's kind of why we landed on 16 weeks, is it's enough time for the volunteer ambulance service to make the schedule out, because they typically publish about a month out in order to allow enough time for the per diem and volunteers to sign up. And then, if you say kind of 2 months in, you're going to have a pretty good feel of where things are going. If it's not going well, then they can start bringing the scheduling down without, again, like you said, trying to have a per diem sign up and not take a shift in another locality and then taking the shift away from them.
Tanner?
Yes.
So how does the whole other conversation weigh in when you're talking about third party payments, about, how the cost breakdown between the three different municipalities. Is that part of the equation? Like how you divvy that up?
Yeah, so I'm going to try and go from memory, which is a dangerous thing. So if you take the total cost of the Honey Eye Falls Mendon Volunteer Ambulance Service, the third party reimbursement. So whenever the ambulance service responds to a call and they bill Medicare, they bill insurance, they collect revenue from the insurance agencies. And I believe that covers around 20% of their total costs. Of the remaining 80%, I think Mendon is responsible for approximately 60% total.
It's based on, there are different rates.
Yeah,
Based on Medicare, Medicaid.
Right.
Private insurance, or no insurance.
Yeah.
So all that is figured into the general gross receipts or the, revenue.
Right.
You know, and then you would take out, you know, your expenses and things like that. So it's, third party billing is definitely a factor in this because they did go to third party billing several years ago. To offset, because at that time, everything was 100% tax funded.
Yeah.
So third party billing was a tremendous resource and a revenue source for equipment, for paid staff and everything else.
Yeah, so that's where a lot of the variability in the cost, the taxpayer cost of the study is trying to forecast how many calls they're going to respond to and what the average revenue per call is whenever they respond to that.
Personally, I think a 16-week test is a really safe way to evaluate. Like you said, there's no commitment. If it's not working, then you can scale back. But you'll know, right? It's an investment to understand. I'm wondering how do you move forward with the evaluation of the contract and the renegotiating? Like, what are your next steps there?
So for the negotiation of the contract, so Honey Eye Falls fiscal year just ended. So as they are, you know, looking at next year's budget for them, the ambulance service is going to be, you know, one of the items that comes up as far as whenever they start budgeting for that. I know there were a couple ideas about getting rid of population and just using a mix of call volume and assessed property assessed values. I really want to go through, and now that we have the total fiscal year count and starting to look at what assessments may look like next year, as well as kind of population trends, what that does for all three municipalities, cost sharing before we get into negotiations for it.
Does Honey Eye Falls seem open to negotiating a new contract?
Yeah, they are.
But we don't know about Bloomfield yet.
They have a relatively small percentage.
Yeah.
In the whole,
Yeah.
You know, comparatively speaking, because you're only covering the North Bloomfield area primarily. So it's, you know.
$10,000, I think, was their last year's. I forget what it was this year, but
pretty small.
Yeah.
Maybe 5 to 10%.
Yeah.
At the most.
Okay, could I suggest that we at this point move on and Tanner will send out some additional information. See whether we can put it on the agenda for next month.
Yes, sir. Thank you.
Okay, next item on the agenda is the retaining wall project. I'll be perfectly candid with you folks. I have no information about this. I don't know if you do, and if you don't, then I suggest we move on.
I have one clarifying question.
I can't answer.
No, but I'm hoping Tom Fromberger, our engineer, could. Has there been a floodplain study done on this?
The parcel is in a floodplain.
Right.
That's the question.
So we don't have to do a study, like, for all the work that is planned to be proposed for like the requests for quotes that I've seen posted, bringing in fill and kind of changing the lay of the land. Does a floodplain study need to be done?
No, a floodplain study does not necessarily need to be done. So the way floodplain regulations work, either the floodplain administrator. And he, in this case, is Corey Gates, is in control of the floodplain and what occurs in it and does not occur. So each project in a floodplain would have a permit. And there's also an item in regard to, you brought up the question on fill, there's compensatory storage, what the term is called. So if you are adding fill, you need to take fill away, excavate in equal volume, try to balance that. The regulations also say that you can fill all the way up to what they call the floodway, provided you don't raise or impact the downstream conditions. And so those are all part of the governance of regulations.
For this, are we still talking about, instead of replacing the retaining wall, we'll
Again,
take it out? No, I know you don't know. I know you don't know. Well,
Joe
it's okay.
does know, and Joe has a lot of information, and I would suggest that you wait until Joe is available to answer some of that stuff.
Okay.
So if everybody's okay, I'd like to move on.
Good.
All right, National Fitness Campaign Healthy Site Discussion. Again, I have no information on that.
We might need to move on then.
Move on. Okay. Records publication and redaction policy discussion.
I think that's a policy Joe wants to incorporate into our current procurement policy and record management practices, though is that the procurement policy we just approved?
No.
I don't think he meant procurement. We might need to table this one too.
Records publication and redaction policy.
To being it, right, so he has a supplemental policy that he wrote with somebody.
Well, again, if nobody
Right,
has any information, can we move on?
Yes.
Yeah, let's move on.
Okay, the employee handbook, I am aware that Joe passed out or sent emails regarding the employee handbook. Do we have some discussion about that?
I know the highway has some issues. I talked to Denise today. Our monthly highway meeting this month got canceled. So for last month, so we'll be meeting here in a couple of weeks, and we're gonna go over those issues that the highway department has.
We just received our copy of it like today.
Oh,
So, yeah.
so you're not really prepared to address it? Okay.
Discuss it.
How about anybody else have input so far?
I'm curious if Michelle's looked
Today?
at it, because
Yes.
Just today?
Yeah.
Okay, let's move on.
okay.
Video conferencing discussion?
We talked about most of it, but there is one thing we didn't talk about earlier, is whether or not that video conferencing can be used for committee meetings. And for like advisory committees, like the Environmental Conservation Board. I'm the liaison, if I video conferenced in for that, do we have to make it available to the public too? To be able to video conference in?
Yeah, sure.
It's Megan,
So,
yes.
yeah, the committees, at least the advisory ones, aren't subject to open meetings law. From what I understand, we've just been doing it as a courtesy. Is that true?
They are.
Let's perhaps discuss this offline.
Oh, okay. Okay. So I'll probably need a liaison then for tomorrow's ECB meeting. And yeah.
So now that procurement is done, is the board okay if I take the first draft of drafting a video teleconferencing draft for the town? Policy proposed statute.
Tanner, I actually already put one together. We can take a look at that and.
Perfect.
Yeah.
You said one Pittsford uses.
I did not.
He provided it.
Oh,
Yeah.
yes.
Yeah.
Sorry. Yes, I did.
Okay.
Okay.
It was in the packet that came out. Yes.
Every other county or every other town in Monroe County either doesn't do it or passed a local law.
Yeah.
I reached out to them first.
But they're all based on extraordinary circumstances. That's my question. You know, and they talk about disability, illness, caregiving responsibilities, or other significant unexpected factors or events. Work related, I have to question that. You know, I would hate to see it become a habit with people. I'm out of town, I'm out of town, I'm out of town. You know, my feeling is, you know, the taxpayer voted these people into office. And I feel they should be here to answer to the public. You know, that it's very vague, extraordinary circumstances. But every policy I've seen in other towns have adopted, that's the definition they've used.
If I may,
Yes.
the extraordinary circumstances is under the 103 framework, not the 104 framework. So, you don't need to have extraordinary circumstances, legally speaking, to participate by video conferencing if we're using 104, which is the way that the town will go here. That being said, you can put whatever you want in your policy.
I know I've seen it in other towns' policies, they reference that.
Because no other town uses 104.
103 does sunset as well, portions of it at the end of June or July.
July.
I think it's July 1. It actually sunsets. It was a good measure.
I'd also like to point out, Tom, that because I'm not here on this night doesn't mean I haven't been committed to the town. I've put in a lot of time and energy and not, you know, having a work related, something that takes me out of town. I hope that you're not implying that I haven't been doing my job as a town board member because I can't be there tonight.
No.
And I agree with you. It should not become a habit. You know, this was 2 months in a row that really weighed on me heavily. That I knew I wasn't going to be able to be there. And going forward, now that I know I have a better sense of calendars and schedules and things like that, I'm going to make every effort to not, you know, I'll turn down events for work if they conflict with the town board meeting. But these ones I was already committed to. Couldn't turn them down. So I agree a policy is needed so that it doesn't get abused and there's guardrails around how it's used. And like I said, I've already written up a policy. We can look at it and see if it looks right.
So Becky, you're going to pass the policy out to each of the board members?
Yeah, I'll send it out for review.
Thank you.
We need any further discussion on that at this time? Can we move on? Okay. Attorney usage discussion.
So we talked about this one.
Took care of that one, so we're done.
Can I was waiting for public comment, but I now I'm sitting up here, so I'd like to offer something if I may.
Yes, sir.
I became supervisor in 2004. There were 7 litigation cases when I assumed office. And I can guarantee you that there was not enough money in the budget, and that portion of the budget for litigation in the B fund. And I had to do a whole bunch of manipulation and a whole bunch of budget adjustments. And we actually didn't do some highway work in order to make up for some of the funding that we had to take care of those cases. So that's my history. We were able to do it, by the way. All right. My predecessor didn't prepare a budget to assume that responsibility, take care of those funding. This board, one that's sitting here now, was not responsible for the litigation that you're faced with. However, I'll finish that. This board, or the previous board, didn't accommodate enough funding within legal services to anticipate a $10,000 bill per month, obviously. But what they did do is they created a contingency fund for circumstances like this. The other thing that happens is that there are monies that do not get expended over the course of the year, leaving a fund balance which exceeds the amount of expenditures that have been made. That's the history of the town of Mendon. Town of Mendon financially is in pretty good shape. And I would urge the board to consider that. And yeah, unanticipated funds of $10,000. Well, I'll tell you, that's not going to happen every month. And you will be able to absorb that if you choose to do that. You will not have difficulties. Your budget will accommodate it.
Well, the limit was put on, it was the problem.
Pardon me?
It's not spending the money, it was the limit was put on. Right. And every month they've gone about the limit, that was the issue. It's not that there's no money to pay it.
Well, then I urge you to change the limit.
That's.
But
I
it,
just want you to with procurement policy, so there you go. Got a good plan in place.
okay, so that's my public comment. All right, or that's attorney usage. Is anybody else would like to make comment about that? Okay, let's move on. Or it is time for public comment. Would anyone like to address the board?
Yeah, correct. Relative to the driving class, that was tabled, who requested it? Or is this policy for anybody? It says that it was, these received a request to have a driving school, and I'm wondering who requested it? Or is it anybody? I could set up a driving school or use a community center for that. That would be the thing. Also, I believe maybe Tom could answer the question. Steve or Locke, weren't they given permission to use that, or isn't there something that said they could use that entrance and going through there?
I believe there's an easement down through there, access easement.
You want to address the question after the meeting, fine, Tom, but at this point, it's just over us, your input.
Another question that I had as far as the EMS updates and everything. I'm wondering if they've considered the increased call value to an emergency care center. If they'd had any discussions on that, would be something, because I believe that they did increase calls. And I was wondering if you had a chance to review the report that was done about 10 years ago by Bumpy Weisenthal concerning it. They felt that the village was abusing the town and that they didn't apply the funds that came back into the ambulance and with that. A lot of money was went into the village coffers, not into the ambulance where it should be reimbursed. As far as the video conferencing, if it's not extraordinary circumstances, then you could retire or you could winter vacation in Florida for 6 months and still be able to have, video conference and like this. There's gonna have to be something on it. That's my opinion, is that, the board should all be here with no guarantee. Do the meeting stop if they lose communications? or is it considered that they left the meeting? Just basically like tonight, supervisor had leave. So does that mean that that's how it would be handled, that we don't, they've left the meeting? So there's a lot of questions about this, and I still believe that tonight's meeting was so, thank you.
Thank you.
Anyone else? Mary?
Yes, and we have.
Oh, please state your name and address. I'm sorry.
I am not a resident of the town. I am not present. I live at 8 Country Club Trail. But speaking on my own behalf and as a 30-year resident of the town, I really believe that safety and walkability, future growth, is everything that can possibly be affected by getting land from the library for this new project. Our serious concerns. We thank the town not only for making the library possible, for their advocacy to address these issues.
Thank you, Mary. Anyone else? Danny?
Danny Bassett, 1980 across the street. So the parking, using the parking lot for a driving class had a bunch of requirements. How does that list compare if I wanted to use the community center for, say, a birthday party? I'm assuming the requirements for that as well. How the two lists compare? And I believe open meeting law 103F would cover the question of do you need to record the Climate Smart Community Climate Smart Task Force group or other things.
Thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else? Okay, could I have a motion to adjourn the meeting?
Motion. to
I'll
adjourn.
second.
In a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Hi.
Motion is passed.
Thank you.